I've been doing a lot of videos on PWCs lately. Some people have actually asked me, "Do you still have your boat?" Yes, I do still have my boat, and I still love my boat, which is why it's now time to do some maintenance on the boat. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Ship's Log YouTube channel. My name is Captain Frank, and this time we are back on the boat. I've got some maintenance to do on the boat that requires it to be taken out of the water, so that's what we're doing today. Fortunately, my marina is one of the few, or maybe even the only one, on Lake Lanier that has its own self-service boat yard. So I don't have too far to go to take it over to the boat yard. I've got an appointment to have a lift take it out of the water. They're going to set it up in the yard, and I've got some guys coming to do some work on it. I'll be doing some work on it myself as well. This is the first time I've taken it out of the water in about 6 years. You know, there's some things I just want to do and some things that I just want to look at to make sure that they're still good. That's one of the advantages of being on a lake as opposed to salt water. You definitely can't get away with leaving your boat in the water for 6 years if you are on the coast. I do have a list of things that I want to get accomplished on this haul out. The first thing is I'll be getting the bottom cleaned. That's something that you can do while the boat is in the water, but heck, if it's out of the water, it's just a lot easier to do, so I'll be doing that. I need to do an overall inspection of the bottom and the running gear. Hopefully, of course, we're not going to find anything wrong, but if we do, then that's the time to discover it and do what you need to do to fix it. I'm going to replace the zincs. We'll talk about what those are later, and I'll show you how to replace those. I've got some gel coat repair to do from that storm a couple of years ago. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you might remember when I did some patching while the boat was still in the water. Well, I'm going to try to get it done the right way here. And then the last thing, of course, is I'm going to get the boat detailed. It's starting to look a little dull, so we're going to get it detailed and get it all nice and shiny again. And that will be it. As you see here, I'm just pulling the boat into the slip where the lift is going to lift it out. You'll see the lift has these two giant slings. Once you pull in there, they simply lift it out with those slings there. This particular lift can carry a boat or lift a boat up to 25 tons, so obviously it's not going to have a problem at all with mine. You see here, once I was far enough in the slip, we just kind of grabbed the stern of the boat with that back strap there to stop my forward motion, and at that point it's all his. I cut the motors off, and it was time for me to get off the boat and let him go ahead and lift it out. As you can see, the bottom is dirty, but not real dirty. So, but we're going to get that cleaned anyway. So first, they just stop for a bit before they get to the final location where they're going to set my boat up to clean the bottom. Just kind of pressure wash it, get all the junk off of it, and this of course makes it really easy to inspect the bottom and the running gear to make sure that everything is good to go. There on the port side bow, you can see that area of gel coat that I need to get redone. After the bottom has been cleaned and inspected, they're going to go ahead and take the boat over and put it in a slot in the boatyard so the rest of the work can get done. Everything looks good. The running gear looks good. The bottom looks good, so that's a good sign. I don't have to get anything else done that I wasn't already thinking that I had to get done. That's the thing that always makes me nervous when I pull the boat out of the water. It's just like, oh my gosh, is there something that needs to get done that I just haven't been able to see because it's been underwater? But here we are good. And here you see they're just adjusting all of the blocks and the stands before they lower the boat down onto it. They got to make sure, of course, they're hitting the hull of the boat on the right spot so it supports it properly. So you'll see them kind of going around the boat and checking to make sure that all that is correct. And then they'll just gently lower the boat down, and then it'll be in place. Now that the boat is set up in the right spot, they're going to loosen the straps so they can disconnect them and go ahead and move the crane away. So now that she's set up in the yard, it's time to get to work. The first thing that I'm going to do is tackle the zincs. You might ask, what are zincs? Well, these are zincs. Now they do come in different shapes and sizes depending on the boat and the application, but they all do the same thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, it's important to note that even though we call them zincs, they're not necessarily always made of zinc. Sometimes they're made of magnesium and other metals as well. So what do these zincs do anyway? Well, they help prevent this: galvanic corrosion. Galvanic corrosion is a process where stray electrical currents in the water can eat away at the metal parts of your boat. Not good. So where do these stray electrical currents come from? Well, boats have batteries, and many of them are also connected to shore power. So now you have AC and DC currents that could get into the water. How does this happen? Sometimes the electrical wiring is not perfect. Sometimes grounds are not perfect, or they become loose. So if your boat happens to be next to one that has an electrical problem and it's throwing current into the water, then that can affect your boat. So how do these zincs help? By the way, these zincs are sometimes called sacrificial anodes because that's exactly what they do. They're designed so that the stray ions in the water will eat away at them before they eat away at your boat. The key is to make sure that you change the sacrificial anodes before they become fully worn out. If you don't, then there's nothing left to eat but the boat. The zincs on my boat are installed on the rudder, and as you can see right here, comparing the old and the new, they definitely are in need of replacement. These types of anodes are really easy to replace. They use a clamshell design with each half going on either side of the rudder, and then a bolt simply connects them all together. It is important to note that before installing your anodes that you thoroughly clean the surface where they're going to be installed. You also must make sure that neither the anodes or the surface will ever be painted. This ensures that you'll have a good metal-to-metal connection between the sacrificial anode and the metal surface to where it's being installed. Without that, the sacrificial anode will not be able to work very well. After that, put the new zincs in place, tighten up the bolt, and you're all done. Time to go to the other rudder. Now your boat may have zincs in multiple locations. They could be on the prop shafts, they could be on the rudders, they could be on the transom. The key is to know where they are and replace them whenever needed. Well, now it is time to put her back in the water. Most of what I wanted to get accomplished, I did get accomplished. I got the bottom cleaned, and then I was able to inspect the bottom and also the running gear, and everything looked really good. So that's definitely a good thing there. No extra money needed to be spent. I did get my sacrificial anodes or my zincs replaced, so we are good to go there. The one thing that I was not fully able to accomplish was the gel coat repair. It's definitely better than it was. It actually looks great as far as the integrity of the gel coat, and it's nice and smooth, but they couldn't quite get the color matched. One of the things about Lake Lanier is it's often very difficult to find people to work on your boat that know what they're doing, and they're also reliable. That's one of the struggles here, but again, everything else looks great. I did get the boat detailed. The company that did the detailing did an absolutely wonderful job. I'm loving the way it looks. So all in all, it was a pretty successful haul out. So hope you enjoyed this slightly different video from what I typically do. I hope it was informative for you, especially if you also have a boat and need to do maintenance on it from time to time. So I would definitely welcome any suggestions you have, anything that you saw me do. If you do it differently, you think there's a better way to do it, I would love to hear it. So thanks again for watching. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Touchdown!